Skirious problems.
Right, Mika. What's your Skirious problem, mate?
And my Skirious problem is that we only brought 3 microphones, but we're 4 people, so now we're gonna have to... Yeah, mate, leave me the microphone. I want to talk. See, this is starting great already. Now, my Skirious problem is that I'm really freaking tired because some people that sit around the table here decided to do like 4 of the hardest races of the year back to back, and I'm so shacked after day 3 already. But it's good fun.
We found this new technique to not interrupt each other. So we've got only one microphone for the two of us. We actually have 4 microphones, but we have only 3 cables. But do you want to introduce our guests, Mika?
Yeah, so we already said we're at Blink Festival in Sandnes now, and we've got the one and only Arne Idland, boss and initiator of Blink Festival, and then we also got Morten Iversbakken, who's the CEO, I think.
No. So we call it the
Future. Who's the future CEO
okay.
of IDT? Who's the roller ski manufacturer that supports Blink, that's also supporting Jimmy's team and me. And yeah, it's cool to have you guys on board and get to talk a bit about the behind the scenes stuff and your ideas on skiing and Blink.
It's cool to be here. I'm, in fact, one of your favorite listeners. So I think it's good to be here. So I hope I also can do some shit, talk some shit with you. Not only of roller skiing and festivals and everything, but I like the concept of your podcast.
Talking shit.
Shit and serious things together. Not only shit.
We try to, but actually, when we came here, you guys started talking about how long you've been working together. Has IDT been a part of Blink from day one of the Blink Festival, or has Blink existed before IDT stepped in?
We started in 2006, and I think Morten came maybe
2012.
Yeah. So we managed to do Blink without Morten some years. But it was, Blink is before and after Morten came in. Blink and IDT is moved up the quality a lot. Yeah. And also he need almost a truck to come here with all the roller skis. How many skis do you bring?
We bring 1,300 pairs this year. So
wow,
we
brand actually, new pairs.
Yeah, all brand new. We came into this kind of not knowing what was going on. It was the first year was actually we got kind of pushed in because there was 3 manufacturers inside that tent. But we got kind of pushed in because of the agreement that we did with the national team of Norway, with the cross-country team. And me and Arne started talking after that one, so we ended up with a conversation and we signed a deal. And it took us 1 year to just do the whole thing, and that was we have been up to 1,500 pairs, but we wanted to set the standard because we saw that it is a lot of broken roller skis around, and we don't want to be a part of having something bad happen. We want to feel safe when we come to this because it's, especially the classic, it's terrifying to be there because we have we've been up to over 500 pairs going around that track, and it's everything from you guys to younger kids that is using our skis around that track, and if something bad happens, we don't want that. So that's why we said that, okay, we're going to come into this, we're going to do brand new skis every year, and that's how it is.
Yeah, but so it's 1,300. What do you do with the skis after? Because I don't know, do you manage to sell them all afterwards?
No, but most of it we do. So we do it as a kind of invitation for other people that wants to try roller skis, because we push the pricing really low. It's not something that we can kind of make money out of, but we really don't want to stock it either because we're not going to use it for anything else. But what we do is when August is starting, all the events elsewhere in Norway is also starting. So all the clubs, everybody is having their own arrangement or events inside of their club, and they will they will probably need like 50 pairs to someone needs 100 pairs too.
Okay.
So we kind of ship that to them so that they can also have skis that are the same resistance and for all the athletes that is going to do that competition that the club is hosting.
Actually, now that we're having the industry here, before we're going deeper into the matter of blink and ideas of cross-country skiing, there's been this discussion going on online the last years about the level going up and level going down, and some people say we ski as fast as never before. Some people say people skied much faster in past years. And one of the references of measuring that is times up Lysebotn. Talking about roller ski resistance, how accurate and how comparable are the times up Lysebotn? I mean, you manufacture those things. 2015 until now, can you even compare, or is there no?
So we did like 5 minutes before we got deep technical. Yeah, we've been having this discussion with the athletes as well, and there's roller resistance is the same. We know that from year to year there will be some differences, but the resistance number one which we use up Lysebotn is the same manufacturer, it's the same rubber, it's the same thing as every other. The thing is that with the first years we did kind of winter the Lysebotn one because we were not able to get rid of the number one roller ski wheels. So I think that we actually did a couple of years with that one series early. So that means that has been up Lysebotn twice instead of once. Before we get rid of it. But it's the same. We have some small percentages that it's we can't match the batch exactly at all time, but the wheels are the same. The funny thing is actually the wheels that were fast was actually heavier because we did something with the frame or the hub of the wheel.
But it was a few years ago, I remember, I think it's like 3 or 4 years ago, there was like all this talk when like the times dropped by I think 2 or 3 minutes in like a single year, and then they've pretty much been around there, like plus minus a few seconds. People were saying, oh, now the roller skis got so much slower. Did we just get really slow, or?
No, I don't think so, but there's maybe one more important thing, and that's the weather.
Yeah.
Because when it's slippery up there, we don't do wet wheels up there. We do the regular rubber wheels, and that's when it's slippery. I know that you guys probably also you're not able to finish the push, because it can be slippery and you don't want to slide on it. So you don't trust it. But this is also where people got used to the wet wheels. And when it's slippery without the wet wheels, that could be one thing. But it's also wind, and it's a lot of things that could actually make it harder. I don't know, but
that's a very polite way of saying we altered shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to say that.
Simon Krüger is the king in Lysebotn. I think if you asked him.
Not anymore, though.
No, but if you look in the past, he is the king.
Yeah.
And he will stay the king because he has been the best all the time. I think he don't agree.
No.
Because he
We
is
actually talked to Simon.
100% sure that the wheels are slower. But if you talk to Holund, Hans Christer, I think he will say the opposite.
Okay.
Hans Christer has the record. But
he has the records.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he is the prince of Lysebotn.
Yeah.
Simon was number 2 this year. I'm not sure what year it was.
Was that the legendary year where they were like skiing the two of them together and just pushing until like when did Holden ski away, like 400 meters before the finish or something, or 300 meters, and he got like this really small gap but managed to sustain it to the finish?
I think this year this is the time number 1 and 2 in Lysebotn. They were skiing really, really fast this year. I think it was 2015, 16 or something.
But then if you look at Kruger 16 compared to 23, I think the Kruger 23 was probably physical quite a lot better than Kruger 2015 or 16.
But then you have to look at the asphalt tarmac. I think it was optimal condition in this year, and that can be a couple of minutes.
And there's also been some changes down from the start line before you start the climb. That has
We
been
haven't changed the track, because
No,
if you
but it's
want
new-
to change
new
the track,
tarmac
you also
and,
need to change the road, and we have not changed the road.
Yeah, but if it's true that if the tarmac changes a tiny
But the
bit, it
tarmac,
can
yeah.
make
Yeah.
a huge difference, actually. But talking about the wheels, that's actually a question I have is, so you were talking about the wet wheels and the normal rubber wheels. Like, you guys are Norwegians, so basically you're going to train like 75% of the time in the wet. Why do you even bother making normal wheels? Like, with the wet wheels, they're fucking good when it's wet. Like,
yeah.
you can use them all the time, and like some other brands, it doesn't work when it's wet. But the rubber wheels, they don't work as good when it's wet. Why?
Because we also do sell a lot of skis.
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people out there that enjoy roller skiing, not on a professional level, and they like to train when it's sunny or at least not raining. and it's a matter of price, of course, because the wet wheels are a more expensive thing. But it's also the wheels that the regular rubber wheels has like there's it's always been there. And it's by far the most selling wheels.
Oh yeah.
So there's more people walking around on regular rubber wheels instead of wet wheels. But there's also a lot of people enjoying roller skis when it's sunny and just do something else when it's raining. They have the opportunity. You guys don't have that. So-
How much? Right, Mika, I've got a question for you. How much roller skiing are you going to do when you stop skiing?
I'd rather not answer that question.
It's funny.
How much roller skiing under the rain? I can tell you that's going to be zero for sure.
But I tell you this, there's always been this stigma a bit in cross-country skiing of, oh, we have to go roller skiing and it's so boring. But it's actually not true. Actually, quite often I enjoy roller skiing quite a lot more than skiing, because usually you don't freeze your ass off. And especially when you're in parts of Scandinavia and Norway where you can just roller ski everywhere.
Yeah.
It's actually so nice. I actually fucking love roller skiing. So I think the number might actually be shockingly high.
I talked to Tiri Lekov yesterday. She's been like one of the heroes for us when it comes to bindings, because she's really thorough with how things going to be when she was back on the national team. And I talked to her, when was the last time you went roller skiing? And she wouldn't answer because she haven't been roller skiing since she retired.
But it's actually a bit sad also, because I feel when people are complaining about how shit it is to do this and that and blah, 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 I'm like, well, that means when you're a professional, you kind of spend most of your time actually doing something you don't like. And I'm like, that's a bit sad, because...
But I don't understand the problem and the question, because here in Sandnes, if you want to ski, you have to do roller skiing. All the kids, because we don't have snow. And also in Great Britain or big parts of Austria and most of Europe, I think roller skiing is becoming more and more important. But here in this region, when I started skiing, we had to do roller skiing because we didn't have snow. So we have to travel to the mountains in the weekends to do skiing. So all the kids here are doing maybe 95% roller skiing.
And it's actually a region that develops a good amount of really good level skiers.
And when you have skis like IDTs, roller skis, it is almost the same. Not in classic, but in skating.
Yeah.
So I think roller skiing will be more and more important, and it is important now. And I don't understand why it is boring, because, as you say, it's...
But it's not actually. I think it's just a mindset thing where we just agreed that it's boring, and now we just collectively say it's boring, but it's actually not. But actually, we could discuss about how boring or not boring roller skiing is for like the next 3 or 4 hours. But let's actually talk about Blink. When did you, or what happened? Did you just sit in a chair someday and then you were like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do this amazing festival that's going to bring party, roller skiing, concerts, and festivals together. I'll do it in a town where I'll just build concrete terminal bridges. And I just
lay tarmac for the race, and then do it in the place as well that doesn't have skiing in the winter.
In fact, the first time I were discussing Blink was with Kjell Kristian Rike. He was not the chief in NRK, but he was in practical life the chief of sport in NRK. I was team captain of the Norwegian biathlon team some years, and I met this great man, Kjell Kristian, in the World Championship in biathlon in Hortfilsen, 2005. And he was a big man, almost 2 meters. And he was really good, and he has done so much for biathlon and cross country in Norway. He is maybe one of the most important persons because he was fighting for these two sports into NRK. So I was in a training day in the World Championship, and he came to me and said, "Arne, it's a shame that NRK has the two most important sports in Norway on TV. Biathlon. Biathlon was number 1 at that time, and cross-country number 2. And football and athletics were far down on the list. It's a shame that we closed the camera in Holmenkollen, shut the camera in Holmenkollen, and opened the camera again in Beitostølen in November. Why couldn't we gather these two sports, number 1 and 2 sports, in an event in the summertime?" Yes, it's a good idea, but now I'm focusing on the World Championship. But he was traveling home to NRK, and obviously they have been discussing this, and then NRK went to the Ski Federation and discussed this thing, and also the Biathlon Federation. And that year, the Ski Federation had been in Stavanger on a kind of, what do you call it, a learning tour to look at events. And then I went to beach volleyball, the world tour in beach volleyball in Stavanger. And that was my colleague Odd Langhelle was in charge of the beach volleyball in Stavanger, and the Ski Federation wanted to look how to make all the side events, concerts, restaurants, and also bring the sport to the people. Normally the beach volleyball should be on the beach, but they moved it into the center of the town. And then after this, they saw it was a potential to maybe think the same way as they did with beach volleyball. And then these 3 parties, NRK and the Ski Federation and the Biathlon Federation, which I was a part of, we had a meeting with World Event, was the name of this company, in Oslo in 2005. And we asked my colleague, who's my boss now, if we could have this event in Stavanger. At that time, Stavanger had everything, a tall ships race and a lot of festivals, and Odd is a Sandnes patriot, and Sandnes didn't have anything at that time. And he said, "We can do it, but we need to do it in Sandnes, because if you want to create something, there must be a need in the city.
Yeah.
The city shouldn't be full with other things, because it will just be a hassle to have another festival and close the roads. You need to have a city who have almost nothing, and we also need to build this patriotism and build the identity around this event." So then it became Sandnes, and after the Olympics in Turin in 2006, I had been working for with the Biathlon Federation for 10 years then, and then I finished, and I had a contract till August, so I could use my last month working with only Blink as a team captain of the national team. So then I became the chief of sport, and I stayed since that as a chief of sport, only thinking blink. And the first year we had really luck with the weather. It was sunny, maybe 25 degrees. Everything was perfect, and the people came. But the second year we had shit weather. The road between Sandnes and Stavanger was closed, and also the ferry between Kristiansand and Denmark was closed because of wind and rain. And we had to cancel all the kids' competitions because the wind was blowing down all the commercial stuff around the track and the fences. And Kjell Kristian Rike came to me in the morning and said that I have to call Oslo and call the kringkaster or the chief of NRK and said they have to find something else this evening because there will be no race this evening. But we managed to fix the track, and when the evening came, the track was open, but the weather was still shit. And then suddenly we discovered that here is something, because all the tribunes were full, and the city was full of people. And that showed us that the people here in this region needed an event, and they also needed Blink. And after Blink, this Friday in Blink 2006, the people in this region took the ownership to Blink. So this is the ownership of this ski event and festival is not my company. It is the people here. And when we closed some roads now, or make some traffic jam, it's really seldom that we get critics, because everybody owns Blink. We had a survey some years ago, and I think it was 97% of the people here feel that they own Blink. And the main reason, one of the main reasons are also that everything is free in Blink.
Yeah.
You can come and go to the tribunes and the concerts, and today we have a free brunch. You can come and eat and do everything for free, and the kids' activities are free. So you don't need a thick wallet to be on Blink.
And this is Norway, so usually in Norway nothing is free.
That is true. But actually, to go a bit deeper into detail, like the financial side of it, like all these things, the free available things, they have to be financed as well. How do you finance it, and what is like on an average Blink year? What's your budget for the whole event?
I think last year, I think the revenue, is that the right?
Revenue is the money you make.
Yeah, I think it was 32 million
kroner.
Yeah.
That's basically $3 million.
Yeah, basically.
So I think that is more than many World Cups.
That is quite a lot more, I guess, than many World Cups.
So but it is.
What is the main revenue? Where does the main revenue streams? Where do they come from in Blink when most of the stuff is free?
Sponsors.
Yeah,
it's 95 from sponsors. Yeah, because but it's easier to sell something which is popular. Then and then it is so important that everything is for free. If we took money to come into Blink, we will be dead after 1 or 2 years.
But the concept for the sponsors, it's not just the sponsors give their money and then they have their logo somewhere. It's or like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the companies pay and get their employees to join the VIP tent. What exactly? How does the concept actually work? Can you go a bit more in detail?
Our vision for the company running Blink is to build the city and the region, but in that order. First, we have focus on the city of Sandnes, and then build the region. And Sandnes was a large industry town some years ago. And then the industry had to move out. It was a lot of this cycle town and also ceramics and different things were were located in the middle of the center. And then Sandnes should transform from a industry city till a modern city with shops and offices and apartments. And then when I was also in charge of the it was a company with shops in Sandnes. So I did. It was called Sandnes Centrum. It's
Shopping mall.
yeah. And the city needed to transform, and then it was important for us to see if we could do something with the companies who should transform the city. And I think there have been spent maybe 20 billion kroner transforming Sandnes the last years. It cost a lot to transform a city.
But actually, the
and
first time we came to Sandnes, and now, and this is like, I think, 6 years for me, maybe. It's like the city is not recognizable anymore. It's like completely changed, because before it was a bit, respectfully, it was a bit calmed down, and it was not the nicest city in Norway. But now there's like this super nice center, and
The first time we came down here, that was actually kind of funny because we didn't know what we were doing. So we figured, okay, let's get down there. Let's take care of the roller skis. I was like, no roller skis at all at that point. But we figured, okay, now we need a beer and we need some food. There was not, we had no opportunity to get a beer at 9 o'clock in Sandnes Centrum. And this is true. We tried a lot. We were able to get a kebab or something from a shop, and we were able to go to a bar. But the two combined, that was not possible.
No, so I think that is the key. So the sponsors, we have about 125 sponsors, like partners we work with, and the main industry, or they come from the building branch, or branches close to building. And then we have a kind of society within the sponsors, and they are building Blink together with us. And if we can make Sandnes more popular, attractive, having Blink, because now we have had almost 200 hours on NRK.
Okay.
And that is some Olympic Games when we measure TV time. So we hope that we have been one of the parties making Sandnes more known in Norway and also in the world, and also more attractive. And we do this with the people who come to Blink, but also the sponsors, to make Sandnes visible and popular and attractive.
But then one question that arises out of that is, everything that you say, it points to the strong regional and local thrive to build this festival and to work on the event. But we're always saying, when we talk about, there's World Cups that do it really good, and there's also some World Cup venues that are maybe not as good as others. And we always say, oh, just look at Arne Idland and look at Blink, look at what they do, look at what they build. But is what you're building and is what you're doing here, is that somehow transferable to other events and to World Cup format events in different regions as well? Or do you think it's just so unique, this event, that kind of your idea and this business plan behind it works only here and can't really work in, I don't know, let's say, pick a name. Actually, Le Rousse is actually like one of the best World Cups.
Yeah.
Only the accommodation in Le Rousse is actually wild. Like in France, you stay in these accommodations that are usually like have been closed for like the past 7 years, and then you get in there and there's like mold in the shower and in the bathroom everywhere, and your mattress just smells a bit like.
Oh no, Mika. Now, Every time you slag off the French come up to me and say, "Oh, fucking idiots! You slagged off France and you hate us." And
But we love Larousse. It's a great World Cup. Just build some constructive hotels in the area, please. That's all we ask for. But to finish the question, do you think that what you do in Blink is transferable to other World Cup-like events and venues? And what can they learn from you? What is applicable and what is not? Or do you think it's so unique that it works here, but it wouldn't work in Toblach, Larousse?
We have already done this. Martin Foucault had this festival in Annecy.
But they had to close it down, so it was
Yeah,
not
but
sustainable.
he will maybe come back. We are talking to Martin. He is working on a different concept now. But he did transform Blink to his concept in Annecy. That was great. He was here getting all the drawings from us, and also how we did the shooting range and everything. So he took Blink to Annecy, and IBU, the International Biathlon Union, they copied Blink. We have exported Blink to Munich.
yeah,
Loop 1. It is a copy of Blink in Munich. Olympic.
How involved were you in, or how involved was the IBU here, and how involved were you in like setting or helping them set up this event in Munich?
IBU we are doing Blink together with IBU. So we get some money from IBU, and they are here with the people every year. So we have a really good cooperation with IBU, and they have been here for many years, and they have got the ideas with the free concerts, the kid camp, and the shooting, and to bring the sport to the city and everything. And we have had several meetings with IBU saying that you cannot have a spectacular seasoning opening in Kontiolahti, close to the Russian border in November. You can have an opening, but not a spectacular seasoning opening. You need to do something different. You need to bring the sport to the people.
But that's actually wild, because if you look at cross country, or generally at FIS, like no one would ever believe it, but Ruka is a freaking spectacular season opening. It's actually my favorite World Cup of the year. It's so good up there.
It is, for me, it's really sad to see how far behind FIS is behind the IBU. So I hope they can do some changes in FIS. And then the main difference is the ownership of the sport. IBU own the sport. And they own the TV rights, and they should organize the sport completely different, and then get the ownership and sell the TV rights as a package, and do like IBU do, that you take some money from the rich nations, Germany and Norway and France, and give to the weak nations. Then you have a sport who will survive also in the Olympics. If you only have strong nations, and all the strong nations get all the money from the TV, the sport will become smaller and smaller. And for me, that is the problem, the difference between the sports. You need a strong international federation who own the sport, and also can be, I like to use the word social democrats, to take from the richest and give to the weaker nations, and then you build something.
Yeah. But the problem I see with FIS right now is that they do have a roller ski World Cup, and then they try to develop a whole different World Cup with different athletes, a different concept, different type of racing, instead of just bringing the stars you get in winter and then actually trying to make them race in the summer as well and make a big event. Like, I think Blink is way bigger than any of the roller ski World Cups you have during the season. So,
for me, this is shit thinking that you should have a World Cup in roller skiing. And in FIS, you don't get the best, you don't get the second best athletes, maybe you get the third and fourth best athletes going to the roller ski cup. You need to include the roller skis into the Winter World Cup. And I'm 100% certain that roller skiing will become a part of the World Cup in some years. If you look at the results yesterday in your race, in top 10, I think there were only 2 Norwegian and 8 athletes in the men's class. Great Britain and different nations. I think it is more fair play on roller skis. On skis, Norway and the big nations come with this big truck with many waxers and have all the advantages before the start. In roller skis, we have Morten with exactly the same roller skis, and you have the same opportunities.
But there's one thing that comes in here that I see as a crucial problem, and some people hate me for comparing skiing to cycling, but I think cycling is the sport that shows us how you can do certain type of things. But if you look, what's one of the thriving factors behind cycling? That's a thriving industry behind cycling. You have like all these different bicycle brands. You have Specialized, you have Scott, you have Trek, whatever. And in the winter, I see you have some competition, but very little competition in the industry behind it. You have like, Atomic, Salomon, Fisher, Rossignol, Matsus, that now became Tesla. So very little industry. And then if you look on roller skiing, then you're talking about, this is maybe where you can, what do you think about this, Morten? The industry behind roller ski, I think, is even quite a lot smaller than the industry behind cross-country skiing. And do you need an industry behind the sport to push it? Because at the end of the day, we offer entertainment, but we also offer promotion of product. And if we don't manage to sell what the industry has to offer, there's no point in doing what we do. Or am I wrong?
I actually, just to go back a bit, because we actually attended one of the FIS roller ski races in Telemark. They have this Telemarksveka, and they decided to be a FIS event. Here's the difference that we see, because we've been with Blink, and we've been at basically all the events going on in Norway. We even been down in Italy with the events coming up, but we feel like we know some things about hosting a roller ski race. The logistics and the planning around what we do down here is something that we feel is kind of unique to IDT. But when we came to Telemark, and that was a FIS thing, they decided that everything that we do and have learned with Blink is just basically shit. Just, we're going to do it our way. So this is how it's going to happen. So they went up with the lists and everything. They had this one guy from FIS standing behind us so that we don't want to favorize our athletes. And we were like, come on, all of these are our athletes. We have all the national teams in Norway. We support them. They're attending this competition. All of these is our athletes. We're not going to favorize one. But they turned that event into, for us at least, I don't know how it felt for the athletes, but it felt like shit. We was not able to do our job. What we did, and what Arne was telling you early on in this talk, was that we wanted to, part of our agreement was that we were going to build around Blink and make it grow. And that was when Blink started to listen to us, and we listened to them, and we find a solution together on how the hell are we gonna bring around 500 pairs down to Lisbon?
Yeah.
And how are we going to swap that into another 500 pairs coming into Ålgård? And coming into Ålgård, and the finish line is around 10 o'clock, and how are you going to arrange everything that is going on when the kids start at 7 o'clock? And that is how we build this, and it's long days, for sure. But what if they put that into a FIS system? What we learned in Denmark for that year, that was going to be a shitty thing. When you guys come into the tent, you get a pair that you can warm up on, which is kind of similar to what you guys are going to use in the competition. In a FIS race, you're not able to touch the skis. You're going to have to mark it. We're going to note that this pair is located to this, and they're going to take samples of that. They don't trust us at all as a supplier to the industry. So the openness around the industry, you mentioned all the ski names and everything, but the roller ski kind of niche, we will have to call it a niche. It's small. It's the market is not that big, but we need to grow it, and this is the place to grow it.
But I think what you said about coming with their preconcepts when they came in. I think that's like hits a point because when I was at the FIS meetings and they were talking about on the roller ski meetings, they were saying how how great their races were in with Trollhättan, and it was like amazing, and it was nothing like the cross country World Cup where you just get filmed in the middle of the forest and it's so boring. And it's just I felt that was like the perfect example of how they're not working together. Like I think the World Cup, the Winter World Cup FIS staff have so much to do, and they're like probably understaffed. And then there's the roller ski side of it that's mostly volunteers, and then they just don't communicate. They don't work together to develop the roller skiing. And I think that's exactly, you hit the point. Is like, if you want to grow the roller skiing, you have to work with the cross country, because let's be honest, the good athletes are doing the cross country in the winter, and they're not doing the roller ski World Cup. So
Yeah, and you have to do like Torvald Hynne, the one that actually took care of everything going on in Telemark for those years. They had to do something else, so he wanted to test the FIS thing, and we were open to test it as well. But they sent in like a bunch of people from FIS that cost us a lot of money for Telemarksveka as well. So on top of this, they kind of add another cost to the event, and I'm not sure if it boosted the event at all. To be honest, he can answer that himself. But I think that they're creating a lot of hassle, extra
it comes
hassle
with a lot of regulation that
Yeah.
basically nobody ever asked for.
Yeah.
That's just not really needed.
And we need to. Our job when we come to events like this is to get you guys a good experience. You're not gonna have everything extra. You're gonna focus on the race, and that is our goal coming into that. We're standing there in the tent all day, no matter what.
But just because I feel we're losing the point, come off the point a bit. What my point was being is, Atomic wants to sell skis, and Swix wants to sell wax, and the Norwegians want to win races, and together they manage to win races, forward the product, and sell something. That's what I was meaning with the industry behind it. Do you not kind of limit the event by just saying, okay, we have one supplier that's gonna supply everybody, and everybody has like equal opportunities, kind of? Because if you look, you go again to cycling, even running, it's like equal opportunities sounds fair, sounds nice, but at the end of the day, we're all looking a little bit if it's the Adidas or if it's the Nike shoe that goes under 2 hours.
This is happening now. Fisher is reducing the money the athletes just now, the big names as well, because there is less money into the sport. Alpine has got new owners now, and they said a week ago that they will have less focus on Nordic skiing. So this is happening, and if you want to meet the future, you have to attack the future. You cannot just sit and wait things happening. The winters are getting shorter, and FIS should also attack the changing coming. And I feel there's a big difference in the mentality in these two sports we are talking about, biathlon and cross country. Cross country has this advantage that they have a longer history. That is an advantage. And in Norway, cross country is really strong because everybody do cross country. Biathlon is a more new sport coming from the army, but it is a new sport. And then you have a huge difference in mentality. Cross country is still really traditional. They are not doing attacking the future. Biathlon is a smaller sport, also internationally. It is easier for us, a new sport and a smaller sport to do changes. But the cross country is so traditional that they don't do the changes, and I hope
I think
they do
what
the
you said
changes.
there before was actually very spot on. IVU has ownership ownership over biathlon, whereas FIS doesn't necessarily have like the people in FIS do not necessarily have full ownership over the product of cross-country skiing, because there's about like 1 million federations that all have some sort of ownership. And the Norwegians want something else than the Germans, and the Germans want something else than the Austrians, and the Austrians want something else than the French. And when you have so many voices that kind of have a say in things, it's just you see it in politics. It's just really hard to develop things. So I think that the main challenge for FIS might be, how are we actually going to win back ownership, and how are we going to be enabled to also take unpopular decisions at some point that will long-term help grow the sport.
Yeah.
But we're
Do we need classic technique? Why do we have 3 techniques? Now we have classic, we have staking, double poling, and skating. Why do we need 3 techniques in a sport? I think one of the reasons why Arne Hedegaard chose biathlon is that he almost don't have races, because he is a skating specialist. And how many races does Arne have in the winter if you do skating and are really good in skating?
Yeah, but that's the specificity of cross-country skiing, and it's also the heritage. You can't forget tradition. Like, I feel like I agree that sometimes you have to like look past tradition, but it's a bit like saying like, why do you need 4 different techniques for swimming?
But
So
we had the
Why
same
do you
discussion
need 4
in the
different
biathlon.
techniques for swimming?
Yeah. But you have also become traditional, Jimmy. I thought you were a young and a modern man, but you have also become a really traditional guy.
Jimmy really likes this Stone Age skiing style. I don't know, how do they call it? Like what? A classic, or what is it?
Come on, like, okay, let's go skiing in Oslo, in the Nordmarka, and let's go skiing on the single tracks in the forest, and you see how much fun that is and how many people do it. I think it would be a shame to not have that as a sport, since there's so many people doing it, and yeah, it's...
But I agree to that. I think one of the things we do not need is, if you look at the World Cup calendar now, we basically have like the same race formats all the time on very similar courses. Just sometimes we do them in classic and sometimes we do them in skate. But the technique, like, let's be honest, okay, there's like 1 or 2 people, maybe 3 people that are really good in one technique and not super good in the other technique. But most of the others are quite all round. But if we want to open our sport for more winners, more different winners, we need to have more various type of racings, because now we're racing in Val d'Ifiem, the exact same race that we're doing in Ruka and the exact same race that we're doing in Lahti, and we expect different people to win all the time, but the same person that's the best on this exact thing in Ruka is the best at this thing in other places. So I think that's, if you want to open up for more winners, that's the easiest way to get more variation. Because if you look here, what you just said is like we have 8 different people in top 10. We could argue that's about equality on the equipment, but we could also argue for, because it's completely flat and there's like tactics come in here, because this drafting plays a huge role. We can ski quite close to each other, but if you just get 2-minute climbs in there.
I just wanted to add to, because we were saying with the different roller skis and everything, I think you have to have roller skis at the same, it doesn't have to be the same brand, but it has to be the same wheels. Because when we came into competitions, we had a lot of people that was hosting the events that was terrified of people kind of adjusting things on the skis. And we were like, why? Why would they adjust things? And we heard things about different bearings. We heard things about people on losing screws and everything. And we were like, but why? That's just dangerous. And I understand that I think they did that before the sprint roller ski cup World Cup thing, where they had this really, really, really fast wheels. And for some races, I can see that coming in. That would be a quality of entertainment, because that will be really fast. And I think Johannes Klæbo he said a couple of years back that we need more speed. We don't need inside of Sandnes. We don't need slower wheels. We need faster wheels.
Yeah, because the faster the wheels get, the faster the speeds get, the more drafting comes into place, and then you get tactics when drafting comes in. And I think that's the main thing that we don't have in the winter. We don't really have tactics because tracks are quite hard. We actually, even if it doesn't look like it on TV, but we race quite fast, so
But-
it's just ability. And when tactics come into the game, there's a lot more going on than pure
but still,
physical ability.
yeah, but still, the safety of the athlete is still our first priority. And
But the safety of the athlete is also number one priority in UCI, and they crash all the time. And let's be honest, we all rather watch cycling race where they go down fucking fast of like some Alps pass compared to when they wouldn't do that. So
yeah, but when you start to
we've
mess
all
with
just
the
become
skis,
sissies. I actually think we should just stop. Sometimes, you get a bit of a rash. I mean, whatever.
Actually, nobody yesterday in the mass start. No, I don't think anybody crashed. Usually, there's at least 1 or 2 crashes, but I think this year was pretty clean.
Yeah, but we do a lot of put a lot of effort to make the track safe. We
Yeah,
use a lot of asphalt and also do everything we can to make the course safe. But we also like speed. We like
Yeah.
action, but we don't like injuries.
I think.
But I also have one remark about the difference between biathlon and cross country, and that is the status of the World Cup. Why do the athletes, the best athletes, destroy their own product, not competing in the World Cup? I cannot understand. The Swedish and the Norwegian and some other of the big stars, they just pick some World Cups, and then all the focus are on the World Championship. And then they are together destroying the whole product compared to biathlon. Eric Perrault, who won the World Cup this year, he said before the season that the World Cup total was, I'm not sure if it was the main goal, but it was equal to win Olympic gold. So I think the athletes and the nations together need to raise the status of the World Cup. If not, you will destroy the product completely.
But everybody in skiing is just so afraid that we get tired. It's like no matter who you talk to, everybody's like, "Oh, I need to train. I'm tired. I need to train. I'm tired."
Yeah, but I think also some of the athletes like Ebba Andersen, she for example went to do ski classics instead of doing the World Cup in Lahti. I think sometimes it's just yeah, I kind of agree. It's difficult to tell, but that's also the problem with having lots of different techniques. Is that I think some athletes will just choose to, for example, Ebba Andersen again, we decided to do Scandinavian Cup in December because if she went to Davos, she would do only 1 race. So yeah, but I 100% agree. I think the biathletes do a lot more distance than cross country
They
skiing.
do all
skiers.
races.
But for example, and I'll say that here again, I'm not going to the Davos World Cup because all of a sudden we decided, hey, you know what? We'll just get like a really nice, good format and a distance race, and we'll turn it into a second freaking sprint. And now you just, you know what? You just take the endurance part of an endurance sport, you just take that away.
Yeah.
We're going to do a sprint and a 5K heat mass start. So we're basically going to, and a team sprint. So we're basically the only distance race where we're going to do is going to be, the result's going to be based somewhat on luck. There's going to be a factor.
How many races do you have this winter in December and January?
December is like Ruka's actually November.
Races. Before 9 races
But
before
will you do
Christmas.
all this? As a, will you go to these races because of the?
I mean, I usually I try to go to every World Cup, but I'm not going to Davos out of protest because if this is what the future of cross country skiing is going to be like, then that's not for me. Then I'm not a part of it anyway. So yeah, yeah, but it's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, we've already almost an hour in, so
Question for both Arne and Morten. First, and try to keep the answer as short as possible there. If there's 3 things that the World Cup can learn from Blink, that organizers can learn from Blink, or that FIS could learn from, for example, the IBU, what would it be?
I think you need to have the event where people live. Bring the sport to the people, not to the wood or far up in the mountains. And I think it is important that you have free entrance. And I also think that you have to be honest with yourself and say that how interesting is biathlon and cross country for people. I think you need to add with different things: music, children activity, food, and entertainment. Here in Blink as well, how many are, to be honest, how many are really interested in what you do? Most of the people. This evening I had to help our guards and the police to organize the traffic in the concert, because the concert arena was full and was a couple of thousand people waiting outside. We need to do different things and realize that what we do is not the most important and most interesting thing in the life for normal people, because we are so interested in what we do that we need to do other things as well, and then make happening. And
So what
include-
you're
yeah.
saying is you need to get the event closer to the people. Affordability comes into mind. You need to have people be able to actually attend those
Yeah.
events and side events.
Yeah.
Morten.
Include the industry. It's what I was saying about what we did here is that we build it together, and there are rough times for the industry in skiing. It's no matter if it's roller skates, if it's skis, if it's clouds, the sports industry is suffering.
Yeah.
And we need to be smarter to actually and listen to the guys, because I'm not the ones that attends a bunch of World Cups during the winter, but there are a lot of people coming into every single World Cup. They would have something smart to tell them. So listen to the industry, because if the cost and the market is going to be what it is moving forward, it's going to be hard to include the industry moving forward.
Include the industry.
There's a lot of them.
Okay, so Morten says we should include the industry. Arne says we need affordability, we need geographical advantages and side events. Jimmy, ask him the question.
Oh, I thought that was the question. The three,
Yes.
right? If you were gonna do your dream session with 2 other people, what would you do? Where would you go? And who would you take with you? Because you both are sports people, so. Arne?
I think I would like to have a roller ski session in Lysebotn with classic.
Yeah.
Then it would have to be classic.
Yeah.
Because a trip with classic, because my shape is not good enough to do skating up the hill. And I would like to bring the new president of the Ski Federation, Roger Finjord. I think he is on the same level as me when it comes to VO2 max. And I will also like to have Sebastian Coe with us on roller skis. And I would like to discuss maybe also Jonas Gahr Støre, our Prime Minister. He could be there listening to us, because what we need here now, and also the ski sport need, is to have the Olympic Games to Norway.
Uh-huh.
We should listen to Sebastian Coe, how he thought when he got the Olympic Games to London. And we should sit down up in Ørneredet and discuss this idea. But Jonas Gahr Støre would be important, because we need Olympic Games to Norway again. I was present in Lillehammer, and I saw how much this meant for the Norwegian people in total.
But you
And
cannot
also
do
for
it.
the ski sport.
But you cannot do it, because 34 is going to be 30 is France, 34 is going to be Salt Lake, 38 might be St. Moritz.
Yeah.
Is that fixed, or is that?
I don't think it's fixed, but I think it will be like that. But after this,
So let's say the earliest possible would be 42. Now that's a problem, because if the Olympics are going to be in Norway, then I'd have to go there, and I really don't want to continue to be a professional for the next 15 years, 16 years.
Right, Morten.
I've been listening to this pod for quite some time, and I always think, I thought that if I was ever invited, how the hell I'm gonna answer that question? Because my childhood heroes were footballers. and I don't want to bring football into this.
But you can.
Yeah, but I'm not because when I was preparing for Blink, as I said, I'm a bit behind. So I was at the 50K recap of the Olympics that you guys did, and I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna bring my fiancée and my kids to Soldier Hollow with you guys for camp, and we're gonna do a roller ski session where you teach those kids how to do roller skis.
Perfect transition.
What a coincidence! We're coming to the US and we're doing the Skirious camp. So you can bring your children there. This is going to be a bit late for Park City, but we're also coming to Wisconsin 12th and 13th of September. So that was a very nice and smooth transition from Morten into our marketing. Arne, Morten, I think my plane's going to leave in 3 hours, so I'll need to get going. Thanks
I'm
for
gonna go back to the tent and deliver some skis.
Yes. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for joining. I thought it was really cool.
Also, last thing, Arne, could you next time you organize Blink, could you push down the races for the junior races so they don't start at 6:30 in front of my hotel room doing click 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 click, waking me up? I think everybody was complaining about this at breakfast this
I think
morning.
we do the opposite because we are going to make Blink bigger and we need more time. So I think we have to follow the daylight in Norway. So maybe 5 o'clock next year.
Yeah, but that's good. But I'm actually impressed that people actually do these races at 6:30 in the morning. That's
I don't feel sorry for
crazy.
you guys. I'm inside the tent before the athletes to bring them their roller
Yeah,
skis.
that's
So
crazy, actually.
stop nagging about it.
Yeah. Right. Thanks for the pod, guys, and
Thank
see
you
you.
for having us.
See you later. Ciao, ciao.
Yeah, ciao.
Serious problems.